I recently made a video about weaning, and specifically weaning little Bodie here. These guys are all three brothers. So that's Chance, he's 4 years old. There's Rupert, he's 2, and Bodie is a yearling, and they've all have the same mother. And recently made a video about weaning and about the weaning process that I was going through and the step-by-step process and how I did those steps. And the end of that video was that Bella and her BFF Petey were then living in that pasture over the back there, so on the other side of this fence out the back there. And that's a couple of acres out there where they could go away, come back, that sort of thing. And Bodie's gotten used to them being close to him, a little bit maybe out of sight, coming back, and it's been a couple of weeks. And so today we actually took Petey and Bella and moved them on the other side of our property. So these two can't see them. And so today's really the first weaning day, the day that my mother's not around, okay? We moved him over there about 5 minutes ago, and if you look at Bodie right here, he is not in the slightest bit concerned at all. And so it's kind of the same thing, you know, that's a big step, going from being able to see her to not being able to see her at all, and it hasn't bothered him at all. And with all training, the big steps are easy if you can do all the little steps well. And if you remember that video, there's a lot of little steps we did, and it's the same as like, say, trail riding. You know, a lot of people say, I went about 5 miles away from home, my horse reared up and he wanted to come home and all sorts of things. If you can get your horse to go, say, 3 miles away from home on a loose rein, not even think about coming back, you could probably do 30 miles. From 3 to 30 would be easy, but from home to 3 miles out, there's a lot of work goes into that. I remember a place I trained at years ago. There was a dressage trainer there, a very good dressage trainer, and I saw her train 2 horses to do the 15 one-time changes like they do for the Grand Prix special, which means it's a flying lead change every stride for 15 strides. It's a big deal. It's one of the hardest things I think a horse can teach a horse to do. And it took quite a long time to get to about 8 lead changes in a row without it being a problem. Because, you know, you start out, you get 1 each way is really good, and then you get to where you can string 2 together. Oh, but then they get a bit uptight and you got to pull it back to pieces. You got to go back to get your 1 good, and then you get 1 and your 2, and then you get a bit further. Oh, no, they get a bit uptight, or it doesn't work. You got to go back again. There's lots of breaking it down. Both horses, by the time she got to about 8, it took, 2 or 3 weeks to get to 15. And you would think that if it takes 6 months to get to 8, it's going to take another 6 months to get from 8 to 15, but that's not the case if you can do all the little things really well. So that's so important, that you can do the little steps in the beginning. And what you'll find is if you can do the little things really well, the big things later on will be so easy it's not funny.